All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live in full effect right here, right now. And we got the one and only, we got the legendary Tony Montana live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
I gotta say, man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Just trying to stay positive down here in Canada, man. We got a bunch of lockdowns going on, and it's ridiculous, man. But hopefully we can get back to some concerts soon, and maybe Tony Montana can come down to Canada, and that way you can show us here in Canada how Texas gets down.
Oh man, I would love to do that. Hell yeah, I'd love to do that. Texas is different, man. We're not on lockdown no more. We're out here doing our thing. Thank God, man.
Hey, I gotta say, man, I'm jealous, man. I really hope our state, man, actually like gets into that soon, man, because I was seeing that I was watching a baseball game or something, man, and you guys had a full on crowd and everything, and I was like, oh, dude, like it was kind of surreal to me because I haven't saw a crowd in a baseball game in so long. I was like, damn, is this even real?
Well, come on down to Texas.
But man, I'm gonna dive right into this interview, man, because I know you're a busy guy. But I want to ask you, man. I want to take you back to the beginning of your career, man. I gotta ask you, what actually inspired you and sparked you to actually get into the music industry initially?
Initially, what inspired me was when we were kids. Me and my friends, we used to walk down our street. It was called Edgebrook. That's where I grew up at. And we used to walk down the street and we'd listen to NWA, Easy, and all that. And so when I picked up on that, I would always start freestyling. I'd make some freestyles of us walking, talking, whatever I see. And as I got older, I said, you know what? Let me try to take this serious. So like at the age of 18, I started dibbling, dabbling, bought a couple of turntables and would just rap over instrumentals, and that's how I got started.
And I gotta ask, man, is any of those like first record? Did you ever actually like, those instrumental story that you rapped over? Like, did you actually record those and put those out, like, or is that just something you just did freestyle?
Actually, I what do you call it? I used to record in the tape, and I still have like two of them from this was you talking about when I was 18 years old. So I recorded them straight to tape, and I got those put up. But my first actual tape that I did was one song on one side, one on the other, and I did one for my friend of mine that had died, and then I did one with a legendary producer rapper out here named Dope Pete from the Terrace, and that's how I got started, man, off the tape.
And also, man, in the year 2000, so the millennium, you were actually featured on Mexican's Bangin' Screw, all screwed out completion tape. I was wondering, man, what's the story behind that tape? And of course, how did that opportunity come to be for you?
To be honest with you, man, I got so much stuff out there. I don't even remember that CD particularly, but what it was is like in '99 or 2000, that's when I started actually doing more in the music. And I started dropping records with Zero, with Trey the Truth, with Big Mello, a bunch of Houston's legends out here. And to be honest with you, that particular CD, I know I'm on there, but I don't remember what song it was because I ran into some issues later on after that. So I don't remember too much about that one in particular.
Hey, man, it's completely understandable. I noticed as well, man, that you're actually on a lot of completions and got a lot of compilation records, man. So it's completely understandable.
Oh yeah, you know how that goes, man. Once somebody wants it, they'll put it on there, and you won't find out until it's out later on.
And also, man, a year after that, in 2001, you actually released a phenomenal album titled Book One: The Come Up. I was always wondering, man, what's the story behind that phenomenal record, and is it still out there for individuals to purchase or listen to today?
So yeah, the record's still out there. It's on all digital platforms. You can find it on iTunes. I'm pretty sure on Spotify and Apple Music. So that was my introduction into the music game as far as the rap goes. I worked really hard on that album. I had quite a few platinum producers on there, and it was really just the come up, the story of my life, man. Because I had a rough childhood growing up, and and everything was was hard at the beginning, and then I got into some things I shouldn't have, and I came up, man. So that's why I called it the come up, and I got quite a few like I said, platinum producers on that one. I got friends of mine, Zero. I got some other people on there. I can't just think off the bat, but Baby Bash is on that one. I put some artists on there, but it was a cool album, man. And as a matter of fact, from that album, that's how I got approached by Sony BMG.
Really, I gotta say though, man, that personally, that record to me, my favorite joint off that is actually All My Players, man. I think that's like track 2 or 3. I could be wrong, but I love that joint off that record.
You know, it's funny. The guys on the record. I mean, you know, I love everybody, man, but they're my the white homies. They were called a drop. What do you call those? Drop It Records, and the name of the group was called Tightly Knit. Man, them boys went hard, man. They came at me. They're like, hey, we want to do a record with you. What do you think? And I listened to it, and I said, yeah, you know what? Let's get it. And I went in there. We dropped the hook, and I love that song. It's one of my favorites from that album.
And also, man, in 2002, you were actually featured on Baby Beesh, also known as to the world as Baby Bash, on his On the Cool record. I was wondering, how did yourself and Baby Bash initially get connected? And of course, what was it like working on the song Headhunter with him?
Okay, so when Baby Bash came to Houston, I think it was like in '99. He had came down with Kid Frost and ended up doing some music with Dope House Records, which was South Park Mexican. And so we were at a show one day, and we started talking. And what we had in common, was smoking weed, right? And so we're like, hey, man, we used to compete basically. I was like, no, I got the best shit. No, I got the best shit. And then we just started smoking, and we became really good friends. And he had asked me to get on several records, man. But back then, I was always running around trying to make money. You know, I was in that fast life. And finally, I was able to sit down with him and do to Keep It on the Cool with him, and I mean not to Keep It on the Cool, the Headhunters on the Keep It on the Cool album, and it was a cool little song, man. I really liked it. It featured the girl Powder also, and we had fun doing that, man. It's always fun when you're in the studio with people that that know what they're doing.
And I got to say as well, Baby Bash is a phenomenal individual, man. I had the opportunity to chop it up with him last year on the radio station airwaves, and probably one of the most slickest individuals you can interview, man. Very humble, bro.
Yeah, he's good people, man. That's my bro right there. That's my people.
I also remember as well, man, that you were actually featured on his Don't Panic, It's Organic record as well. I think that came out roughly about 2 years ago, man. You guys had another phenomenal collaboration on that record as well.
Yeah, what I did, I actually got on the song Solid, right? He had asked me to do something in Spanish for him. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we're, running through some beats or whatever. And then I already had stuff on my phone. And as soon as I heard that beat, I'm like, man, I got something for it. So the next day we jumped in the studio and I went in there and laced the track. And I told him back then, I said, you know what, I wasn't really, trying to get back into the music game or nothing like that. I'm like, man, you can just leave me off the credits, man. I'm good. Just put it up and let's see how it goes, man. It actually did really well. It did really well, but nobody knew I was on it until now, probably.
Well, hey, you know what? I like doing my digging, man. You know what I mean? So hopefully, guys, some of your listeners actually take some from this interview and be like, damn, I didn't know that. I love just doing my digging and my due diligence, man. So hopefully your listeners learn something new.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And the song's called Solid. Y'all look it up. It's a cool song, man. It's kind of like, it actually, from that song is what really kind of got me going, getting back into the music, man. It kind of gave me a little inspiration.
And also, man, in 2006, I read that as well that you actually teamed up with DJ Smalls to create the Southern Smoke Special Edition mixtape. I was wondering, how did yourself and Smalls get connected? And of course, what's the story behind that phenomenal tape?
You know what? I'm gonna be quite. Look, I'm gonna be real with you, Immortal. I don't even remember or even have anything to do with that particular album. I think there's another guy that goes by the name Tony Moñtana out here in Houston, or used to go by the name Tony Moñtana. During that time, when he's saying 2006, am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, man. During that time, I was incarcerated. So, I mean, I think somebody tried to take over my name, but you know how they say, I'm often imitated, never duplicated. Hell well.
Hey, man, you know what? At the end of the day, man, I was sitting back and I remember we were having a little bit of that conversation about saying you were away and whatnot, and I was sitting back. I'm like, man, I don't know what year he went away, but like it kind of matched up in my personal opinion, so I thought I'd bring it up. But clearly, the white boy was wrong on this one.
That's okay. It's okay. Hey, I've had people come up to me and when I got out of my little stint, people would come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, I heard your song on the radio." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, Tony Moñtana, Tony. I'm like, come on, man, that ain't me, man. But yeah, man, it's all good, man. You know how they say, man, that name is real famous, man. But to have that name, it carries a lot of weight too, man. Don't get it twisted, man.
And also as well, man, I noticed that you actually have your own company called Moñtana Media Group, man. I was wondering, what made you decide to start your own company, and of course, what services do you actually offer to the general public?
Okay, right now I'm not offering too many services. That's really like my record label, but I am diving into what do you call it, the shows, as far as like, I want to do some like some skits, some sitcoms. I actually want to do some movies. I'm that's all in the future right now. I started off as my record label, but I'm opening it up to do other things. I want to sign some artists. Eventually I want to sign a few artists, that have talent, and put them out there also. But it's going to be a bigger thing than what it is now. So you always want to have your own thing going. Build your own brand. That's what I like to tell people, man. You can you can write somebody's coattail, but at the end of the day, you're helping them build their brand. So why not do it for yourself? And that's what I decided to do. That's why I started the Moñtana Media Group. And so far, I'm going to be the first artist, featuring off my label. And I got some other things coming. I've been in a couple of movies. I want to do some comedies. I want to do some shows. And I actually had a show I was doing called the Wariche Wake Up Show, and I was going to put that on there, but that kind of stalled out. But I have some more things coming when it comes to my record label.
And also, one of the last older questions I have, man, I noticed as well that you actually did a substantial amount of work with a legendary artist by the name of Zero, man. I was wondering, how did yourself and Zero actually get connected, man? Of course, what was it like just working in the studio with another legend like him?
So, the record label that connected me with Zero was KMJ Records, right? So, it was Big Mello, it was Trey the Truth, Zero, Dougie D, Cliche, and then myself. They were looking for a Latin artist, to bring to the label. And back then, man, I was doing really well financially, and I hadn't started building my brand. And they offered me some money as a joint label deal with them. And back then, the name of the company was Entertainment that I had, but it was just like a loose label, whatever. Anyway, so they asked me, to get down with them because they were looking for a Hispanic rapper. So I ended up going over there with them, and and that's why when I did the put the Come Up, the album, I put that together and released it under them. And I had met Zero. I think I'd met Zero a long time ago when he was younger at a barbershop. He was my brother-in-law was cutting my hair, and he told me, "Hey, man, I know this kid, man. He goes hard, man. I want you to listen to him." So I was getting my hair cut, and Zero walked in there, and he started rapping, and I was like, "Damn, this dude's cold." But at the time, I wasn't really like, trying to put nobody out or do anything like that. But we ended up on the same record label. It's funny. And we started collabing. I did quite a few songs with him. I think I got like five or six songs with him and with Trey and the Gorilla Mob. And man, and every time we got in the studio, it was live, man, because it was all like hard work. It was all good music. And man, those were the good old days, man, with Big Mello in the studio too. It was. I've had quite a underground career and stuff that I never talk about, but it was phenomenal, man, working with him.
And I gotta ask you, because I know right now, man, you're actually back in the music scene. You're doing music like hardcore, man. So I gotta ask you, do you have any more plans to do anything else with Zero?
Yeah, well, you know what? I've reached out to him a couple of times, and it just hasn't connected yet to where I want to. He's a good dude, but at the end of the day, a lot of rappers now, once they've made it, they're really tired of the rap game in a sense. You know what I mean? And everything that comes with it. But I've reached out to him a couple of times, and I'm almost like 100% sure, we're gonna connect and do something big, man. I got a lot of stuff coming up, man, and definitely want to get back together and do some music with him, because every time we hit it, man, we hit it hard, man.
And also, just days ago, man, you actually dropped your brand new record, which is a phenomenal record, by the way, titled El Miro Miro. I gotta ask you, man, can you tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal record? And of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some digital and hard copies? Okay,
so this record, man, this is my baby, man. This is like my introduction back into the music, right? I'm gonna just give you like a quick, just a quick story, right? When I started doing music again, I started doing it because of a friend of mine. He was the owner of Shut 'Em Down Records. His name was Danny Moreno. Real good friend of mine, man. We used to hit the streets together. We used to hit the music business together, and it was always a mutual respect. It was a brotherhood between me and him. So he ended up getting sick, and he would always tell me, says, "Man, Montana, you got to keep doing music, man. You can't give up. You can't give up." And by then, man, I had been trying to get on and do music, and nobody would take me serious, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. I don't need anybody to take me serious. I got to take myself serious. So anyway, he ended up passing, right? And one of the last conversations we had was, "Hey, man, damn, dude, you're not gonna do music no more?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'll do it." And he passed away. So, some time passed by, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give one more chance, man. Because if he believed in me like that, then I gotta at least try for myself. So I did, and as a matter of fact, the first song off El Metal Metal was titled "When I Was Up," and that's the very first song on the record on the album, and it has him talking about about life and everything. So he's the one that inspired me to get back into the music, man. And in 10 months, I've accomplished a lot, man. God is good. I've been able to to complete my first album in 20 years, man. So it's a very big deal for me. And I'm very happy. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Spotify, Deezer, Pandora. It's on YouTube. I mean, it's everywhere digitally that you can download. And for copies, man, the only way to get copies, I only printed 100 of them. I only got maybe like 20 something left. I might print some more. If people reach out, Right now, my website is in development. It should be ready hopefully within the next month, and I'm gonna start selling actual hard copies on there. But if they want to reach out, and order a hard copy directly from me, just hit my Instagram or my Facebook. And I don't know if we can share that now, or if there's a way to share it on your website. But they could hit me like that, and I'll mail them out.
And also as well, I first and foremost want to say, man, my sincere condolences to you and your friends, family, man. It's never easy losing a partner, man. So I just want to send my sincere condolences to you.
Yeah, you're a gentleman, man. I appreciate that, brother, for real.
And I also saw as well, man, pertaining to this brand new record, I also saw as well, man, that you had the one and only Paul Wall, man, actually give you a video plug, man, holding your new record. I gotta say, that's major, bro.
Yeah, Paul's good people. I'm gonna tell you a quick story, right? So back in the day, man, during the days before, I've dropped my first album. I'm gonna put it out there because it's the truth, man. I was the first person in Houston with an all diamond grill with diamonds all in my shit, man, like all diamond up. And everywhere I would go, people were like, "Damn, what do you got in your mouth?" I'm like, "Shit, man, I got diamonds in my shit, right?" And so I remember going to the studio, and Paul used to go over there and work at with the same artwork designer for the albums. And him and Mike Jones would be in the studio at different times, and they were just like, "Man, what you got in your mouth?" I'm like, "Man, I got diamonds in my shit." And then shortly after that, I ended up going away for a while, and man, I'm sitting in the penitentiary, and then this song comes out, "Let Me See Your Grill" with Nelly and Paul Wall and Chingo Bling. I'm like, God damn, ain't that something? So that's how I met Paul, and he's always been 100, man. He's an awesome dude, man. He's an awesome cat.
And also as well, man, I just got to say congratulations on your new record as well, man. It seems to be going absolutely phenomenal. I actually sat back today, listened to it from beginning to end. I got to say, man, there's not one song that I didn't skip. So ladies and gentlemen, whoever is listening, if you haven't peeped his new record, make sure you peep it today. Add your favorite song to your favorite playlist, man. Let's help spread Tony Montana's music.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, if y'all listening out there, make sure you download it on iTunes, Spotify. It's English and Spanish. It's mixed. It's a variety. But man, I poured my heart and soul into this, and I think it's gonna do well. Anytime you put everything into something, work hard, it's always good results. Especially if you put it in God's hands too. So hopefully people will like it, pick it up, and I'm gonna stay busy doing shows, and let's see where it goes from here.
And also as well, man, you actually sent in two tracks off this record, man. So we're gonna give the listeners a little taste right after this interview, man. And I was wondering if you can actually give our listeners a little bit more insight on these two songs. And of course, if they haven't heard them already, what can they expect from them when I do spin them here on 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM?
Okay, so the first song I sent you was called "She Got That Wet," right? It's just it's a little freaky song. My homeboy Marty Obey, he's a Bashtown artist. He was signed to Bashtown, and he's a singer, man. And he also raps. He's a phenomenal singer. I collabed with him, and I told him, "Hey, man, let's do a song." He's like, "Well, send the beat." So the beat is produced by Symes Carter. Symes Carter is a producer that did the "Oh No," the TikTok hit song. He produced that beat. The "Oh No, oh no, 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 no." So that's the guy that actually produced that track. And I also got a friend of mine named DeLuna that played the guitar on there, and another gentleman that's real famous that also played guitar for Symes Carter on there. I just forget his name. And so I got that track. As a matter of fact, that track was gifted to me by a friend of mine named Robert. We call him the Crazy Mexican. He gifted me that track because he knew I was doing music again. So I got the track. I added some guitars to it and called Marty. Marty jumped on it, and it's for the women. It's called "She Got That Wet," and it's a cool song, man. It's I do an English verse on the beginning, then the second part I do the Spanish verse. But I'm getting a lot of good feedback on that song. And song number 2 is called Out the Mud, and guess what? That's also another CKOR-DB. And Signs ended up coming down from Denver, Colorado, and came to my house and wanted to work, through a mutual friend named Chris Soup Flame, which is a good friend of mine. He's out there doing his music too, Soup Flame. He brought him over to my house, and we just sat here, we're smoking it out, talking, having a good time, and it was like, man, let's get on it. So we started making the beat, and in my mind, I was like, man, who can I put on here to sing this chorus? Because I write all of my stuff, Mortal. Everything that you hear, anything that you hear, the hooks, my raps, I write everything. Everything, my whole album, I wrote it all except the She Got Wet chorus. But I write all my stuff anyway, so I was sitting here doing my melody, writing the words, and I'm thinking, well, who can I put on this record? And a friend of mine named Mo Hustle has an artist named Small Boy, right? And the guy, he's not small, he's like about 6'5", he's a big dude, right? And I love his voice. He has a phenomenal voice. So I'm like, you know what? Let me call him up and see if I can, get him over here to drop this chorus for me. Man, he came over here, heard the song, he fell in love with it, man. And we did it. We put it together, and man, it was history, man. I think this song's gonna be the one for me, man. I really do. I'm gonna push it really hard. I got a video coming out for it. It's called Out the Mud, and what it basically talks about is just how I got out the mud, when nobody was fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? When nobody believed in me, I just believed in myself. You know what I mean? And the best thing you can do in life is believe in yourself when nobody else does, and you're gonna see results because that gives you more inspiration. So that Out the Mud song, man, that's the one right there, man.
But I gotta ask, man, other than your brand new record, what is next for the legendary Tony Montana? Like, is there anything I happen to miss? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? What would have you here live on the Canadian radio station airwaves?
Well, look, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? So I'm trying to do. Tony Montana's trying to do something that probably hasn't been done yet, right? Well, I'm gonna say it hasn't been done. I'm trying to hit the Latino market and the English market at the same time. I have a show coming up in Salt Lake City with a good friend of mine named Eddie Juarez. He's putting together a big play for me with a singer named Edwin Luna. He was on Billboard #1 last year and almost won a Grammy. So I'm doing the Spanish thing, right? All Spanish, and now I'm also doing the all English thing. So what I'm eventually trying to do is I want to have a #1 hit in English and a #1 hit in Spanish, man. So you know what they say, shoot for the sky, and if you miss, you'll be among the stars. So that's my next move, and of course I want to stay busy doing shows, try to get my music on radio, and just take it day by day, man. I don't want to have a grand illusion of this and that. I just want to take it day by day, and we'll see how it goes. But I do have some other stuff coming out too as far as music. I'm gonna do some collabs with some other people in the works. I don't have names yet, but I know it's definitely gonna be a few big names of my choice. And also, I'm doing some comedy skits with a friend of mine. Like I said, I used to do a little acting. Also, I've been in 2 underground movies. But for the main thing right now is just pushing this album, man. That's what I want to do because I got a bunch of songs on there that can go. You know what I mean? And I think, like you said, the whole album, it's good from beginning to end. So that's my main concern right now, just pushing the shit out this album.
And also, man, when you said a few moments ago about getting your music on radio, man, I gotta say you gotta start right here because these 2 songs you sent me, I'm gonna make sure they stay in heavy rotation right here on 97.7 FM.
Man, you know what, dude? I'm gonna tell you something, man. You don't know how much I appreciate you. You're the first person to actually reach out to me, man, and ask me to jump on the show. And man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I never forget when people do things for me, man, because it's hard in this business, man. For somebody, like yourself to reach out to me, man, it means a lot. It really means a lot, more than you know, man. So I really do appreciate everything you've done for me and everything you're going to do. And man, you never know, man, if things go well, man, we're definitely going to make sure you're right, bro. So, man, I appreciate you, Brandon, for real, man. I really do.
Hey, man, I just love real hip-hop, man, and honestly, a sound like yours, unfortunately, I hate to say this, it's hard to come by nowadays, man. There's way too much bubblegum rap. I don't even know what to call this new stuff, man. So when I come across individuals like yourself that still strives to help keep the hip-hop culture alive, I jump on that and reach out, man, because I want to see talented individuals that actually have talent, that actually showcase the talent. I want to help you guys get heard because at the end of the day, man, unfortunately, that kind of real hip-hop is really hard to find nowadays, unfortunately. You got to dig for that.
It's funny you say that. You know why, Immortal? Because I had somebody reach out to me on Messenger and said, "Hey, man, thank you very much." I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "Man, I finally got something I can jam to, man. It ain't none of this new watered down shit." You know, at the end of the day, hey, man, I don't hate music. Is music, right? But when it comes to like substance and you know and you know and creativity, you know, this time the hip hop game is kind of lacking. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a few young artists, man, that they're doing it, but for the most part, it's become cliche, it's become watered down, man. So it's time to bring back music in hip hop, not just, you know, the sound, just bring back, you know, lyrical skills, bring back, you know, melodies, bring back what hip hop was intended to be, you know, to advance the culture, man, not to water it down. And you'll never catch me doing no watered down bullshit, man. You ain't gonna see no women in my videos with thongs dancing. You ain't gonna see me smoking weed, getting fucked up. You're not gonna see no guns in my shit. I do it for the essence of hip hop. You know, my number one rapper of all time was Tupac. He got a little crazy and shit toward the end, but everything he spit about, everything he rapped about was real life. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like the youth, they have no go-to. You know, they talk about struggle, they talk about shooting, they talk about stuff that like, to me, it's like they don't have nobody to look up to, you know, anymore. Everything is just watered down. Everybody wants to be shooting. Everybody wants to have the hoes. Everybody wants to have the money. You know, they're trying to, you know, they're destroying the mind of the youth through hip-hop, man, but it's time to bring it back.
But also, Tony, this is the time in the interview, quickly, right before I wrap things up, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, but most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated, everything, Tony Montana, if they're not already doing so.
Okay, well, you first, before I give shout-outs, I'm going to give you my information. I don't do Snapchat. I don't do TikTok, not yet. Maybe later on I will, but my main social media outlet would be Facebook. It's Tony Montana. When you spell the Montana, it's Monta, and then on the end, it's like the little curve on top of the end, and then A. So it's kind of like Tony Montana, like the actor Tony Montana. And then on my Instagram, you can find me at Tony_Montana_HTX, like Houston, Texas, HTX. So Tony_Montana_HTX on my Instagram. And as far as shout-outs, man, first I just want to give a shout-out to, you know, to God, man, because without God in life ain't nothing possible, you know what I mean? And other than that, man, I want to give a shout-out to, you know, my family, you know, all my close friends that supported me, you know what I mean? Shout-out to my haters, too, man, because without them, there wouldn't be no love coming out of me, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to name drop because I got too many people, but I just want to, you know, give everybody a shout-out, man, that's been supporting me and that's been, you know, helping me along. And a special shout-out to you, Brandon DJ Immortal Brown, man, for calling me, man, for putting me down like this, man. You're the man, dog. I really do appreciate you.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome, Tony. Honestly, you're most certainly welcome, man. I gotta say, hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But I gotta say, Tony, enjoy doing that show out in Salt Lake. And most definitely, man, soak in all that love from this brand new record, man. Because I'm telling you, this thing is hot and it's gonna be on fire for a while. I can promise you that one.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Like I said, man, you're the man, dog. Continue doing what you're doing. Congratulations on your award. Congratulations on your success, man. And the sky's the limit for you, man. So, you know, keep grinding, man, and know that you got a lot of love out here, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Tony. But I gotta say, man, have yourself a wonderful night, and most definitely, man, we shall talk soon.
Okay, thank you, Mortal, man. Y'all take it easy, man. Make sure y'all tune into that Tony Montana and Metal. I'm back, baby. Yeah.
Hey, man, you already know, and she's staying in heavy rotation as well, so you already know what to do.
Already. Yeah.